I'll do this on
Okay, so I'm recording,
And
and at
and you
my
just
end,
need to, yeah. Go
your
ahead.
end is recording, right?
Yeah,
yeah, but
I
you
still
can
need,
record also, Dave. You can record
Okay.
also at your end.
yes, sir.
And Mark, are you able to
Okay.
record?
No, not yet. There
Let's
we
see.
go. There it
Yeah.
goes. Now it's recording, guys. I'm set. Thank you so much.
Okay. It says okay. And then for me, I gotta okay, let me get here. We're not on the air, are we? Just we're just on yours,
Just
right?
re Yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly right.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and start like two 28-minute segments. And we're gonna go, and I got a time clock. I got a fancy dancy little uh, I'm high tech. I'm
You're
telling
high
you.
tech, man. I
Yeah,
love it. That's
I'm getting
awesome.
into production. I'm embarrassed being around guys like you. You're so high tech and everything. But the clock is ticking.
Honestly, whatever works, Dave, you just got to
Yeah,
use it, right?
right.
You
That's
gotta
it.
go. You gotta
Here we
go. That's
go.
right.
Here we go on record. All right, guys. Here we go.
Thank you.
Good afternoon or good evening, and or whenever you hear this, because this is a pre-recorded show. This is the Dave Emmons show, and we're affiliated and syndicated through WDY Radio. That's in Maryland, and that's OdysseyRadioLive.com. My good buddy Eddie Carson, he's recording the audio portion, and he puts that out on several platforms. And this will be video fashion, and it will be sent out to multiple, I guess, platforms. I do quite a few, but we got a couple of guys that I've always liked, always had fun with, and they're very adventurous, and they're into the UFO world. And we got Rob Freeman and Mark McNabb, and both of them work together, producer, researcher. And let me go through some of these things. If I read everything that these guys did, we wouldn't have a show. We just have an introduction. but really, they're great guys, and they're with Skylight Films, and they've done factual documentary producing, April 1996 to present, 26 years, Toronto, Canada area, Skylight Films and Multimedia, and producer full time. And also, let's see here, we've got a we got this Italy thing that you guys just got done with, and that's going to be great. Rob Freeman, researcher, and Mark McNabb, producer, began their journey to investigate the UFO mystery only a few years ago, and yet have already visited at their own expense more than 15 countries around the world. And they had a couple of fascinating stories from Australia that I still think about that today. And I mention that every once in a while, that Outback story you guys told. It really got me. Their documentary research project was born in 2015, and with an ambition to investigate. And these guys are ambitious, because why do you think they travel 15 countries to go put boots on the ground, not write a book or anything like that from a distance? These guys put their boots on the ground and they research all these phenomena of UFOs. And they've been across the globe with classic tools and trade in the best known so-called hotspots in the field. And you guys have been, I guess, featured in some documentaries, and you've gotten some awards for it. And Rob Freeman, Mark McNabb, welcome to the show. You have any opening things or anything that I might have missed?
Well, I
Honestly,
just want to
yeah.
thank you there, Dave. We always enjoy being on the show with you. So we're really looking forward to this one. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and thank you, Dave, so much. And I would just like to preface it with the fact that Rob and I partnered up on this particular project, which has become UFO World Explorer. I got to put the plug in because there's a lot of videos to watch on Rob's UFO channel, and Skylight Films is just affiliated with Rob and UFO World Explorer to document these experiences, and it's been incredible. I think we're at 16 countries now, eh, Rob? I think we're at 16 now.
Yeah.
So in Italy, Dave was
Yep.
number 16, and we're excited to be on the show. And
I'm excited having you guys.
you do an amazing job. You do an amazing job. So thank you for having
Thank you,
us.
sir. And I just enjoy you guys. You guys are my besties, you know.
Oh, same.
And Italy, so beautiful. We've got to hear about it. We didn't come across with any talking points, but I'm going to let you guys. I'm going to turn you loose, Mark and Rob, and you can start wherever you want on these adventures. I know some of the adventures you've had, but the Italy thing is brand new to me. So wherever you want to start, a little background and tell us some exciting stories that you've had in other countries. And then maybe with this new visit to Italy, that will come across pretty good. Okay. Go ahead. Wherever you want to start. I'm all ears.
Mark, you go
Well,
ahead and start
yeah.
off here.
2022, Dave, has been really exciting for us. I mean, we know we haven't talked for probably about
Year.
6 months, a
Year.
year, 8 months, a year with you. But 2022 has been exciting for Rob and I, coming out of the other side of the pandemic. We've had the opportunity in April to go to Ecuador. And I know that we didn't mention that to you, Dave, but we did get the chance to go to Ecuador and go to some incredible locations, and also connect with some incredible people that have really made a big impression in that area. Jaime Rodriguez and different people that have had 20 plus years of experiences. And so Ecuador was amazing, so we'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll talk a
Good.
little bit about what's referred to as the Bermuda Triangle of
Okay.
Canada,
Okay. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is in Marysburg, Ontario. That's it was an exciting time. Rob got an pretty incredible sighting there. And then we can talk about Italy as well, where we were in 3 different mountainous regions. We were in Turin, Italy, then we went to Val Camonica, and then we went to Val Malenco. So we spent about 16 days in Italy, again, connecting with some experiencers and researchers. And it's been amazing. It's been an amazing time.
And I think I know when you guys were in Central America, because I tried to get you on my show, and they said,
Yes, sir.
"Hey, we're traveling." I said, "Good."
Yeah, that's right.
Good. You're doing your job. You're doing what you're good at. You're investigating. Did you want to start off with Central America? Is that where you want to go?
Mark,
We did have an
yeah. Why don't you talk about Ecuador first, and then I can jump in about the Marysburg vortex, Mark.
Perfect, Rob. Ecuador was really interesting for us, Dave, because there are different I would have to say philosophical, spiritual approaches to the UFO, UAP, extraterrestrial phenomenon. And I don't know what your viewers, listeners know about the practices of, say, a mission Rama, and basically that is a 40 plus year tradition in terms of connecting to the phenomenon at a level that involves it's I guess in some at some levels it's a pseudo religion. You know what I mean? It has a different, there's a combination of science and religion, where there's a lot of members around the world in Mission Rama that have had experiences that have connected to the UFO, UAP, extraterrestrial phenomena. So Rob and I wanted to explore that. We had a set of experiences in 2017 with Sixto Paz Wells, who is very known. If anyone wants to Google or go on YouTube, there's a lot of material about him. And so 5 years later, we connected with that, and we connected with different individuals, and we had different experiences and went to different hotspots and had different people, discuss on camera things that they had in very remote regions of Ecuador. So I don't have a lot to say about it, because we're just kind of like curating that material and, exploring all of that kind of footage and all those different experiences. But it was incredible. I mean, I feel that every expedition Rob and I go on over the last 8 years, it's just knowledge. We're just being given extra pieces of information and learning, and that learning forwards us. It's not just about sightings and getting things on camera and presenting things. you know, it's kind of like you're getting your you're being educated nonstop. It's like you're getting
Yeah.
you're trying to go for your PhD, you know, in having a sense of an understanding of what this phenomenon is, how people perceive it, because it's perceived in a different way from culture to culture to culture. In
Right.
Ecuador, in Peru, definitely, I think Rob would concur, definitely throughout South America, there is this understanding, this broad understanding of what it is, you know, and what it represents and the meaning of it. So Ecuador was a great step.
Right. You talked
Well,
about
and
Peru the last time, yeah, and it was amazing some of the things you told us about that. Since we only have an hour, man, you guys are gonna
Yes,
crowd
sir.
this in. But no, Peru and then Australia story. I'm still, I'm still thinking. I got the notes from you guys from last time, so I look at them and stuff. So yeah, go ahead, Rob.
well, it's funny because we're exploring all over the world and people ask us about our experiences and our sightings. But I have to say that we were high up on the mountains in Ecuador with a whole group of people, and a torrential rain came in.
really,
And
wow.
why Mark will remember this well, washed out all the
Yes.
roads. We were stranded up there. Thankfully, I had a Iridium satellite cell phone or a satellite phone, and we were able to get help. We had the local fire and rescue come and get us.
Oh my,
And yeah, well, the roads are washed out. Like
yeah,
we could not drive. There were ruts like 3 feet down, and we're just bottomed out. Like the torrential rain came in like you wouldn't believe it, just washed the roads out in 30 minutes, and we were stuck there. And these are
that's
regular roads
scary.
that go all the way through the mountains. And it's funny, finally, when we arrived, I think it was early in the morning, finally back down in the town, the firefighters were great. They wanted us to pose for a selfie. And so all,
True.
all of us were
Wow.
there with our fire rescue guys, and they were writing a whole story for the local paper because these Canadians were rescued high up
Uh-huh.
in the mountains by
Yeah.
the local fire and rescue. So that
Uh-huh.
was pretty exciting. But moving on to the Marysburg vortex, Dave. To me, that's right here in Canada. It's at the end of Lake Ontario. It's the eastern end, and there's a triangular area which encompasses onto the US side of the border that goes through the lake.
Right.
Okay. And anybody that searches at Marysburg Vortex, they're going to find that over the years, there's been a lot of sightings, there's been a lot of experiences, there's ships and airplanes that have disappeared. It's kind of like our version of the Bermuda Triangle. It really is. And we had Dave Palichuk from MUFON Canada with us. He's the executive director here in Canada. Good friend. He comes out with us with all of his camera equipment as well. So him and I were teamed up, and Marcus was there as well. And we had, the WMD set up with all the infrared, the full spectrum, the thermal, you name it, visible, zoom, time lapse. Well, we captured something. Okay. Now, we didn't see it at the time, but when we went back and looked through on the infrared time lapse, there it is. And Dave used to be a field investigator at MUFON, and he then became the chief investigator. So he has all the tools that they use at MUFON Canada to extrapolate everything, including where this sighting was. And we determined it was out in the lake, okay, somewhere halfway across between the US and Canada. And maybe later we can attach the links, but I
Right.
have the, I don't know how it'll show up on this video. And I don't know if I can, let me see if I can fast forward it here. I'm going to show you in a second.
Now, is this
Yeah.
same area? Is this where a lot of people disappear?
Well, I don't know about people disappearing, but
Okay, I saw the bright light flashing there. Yeah.
There's a
okay.
different combination. There have been there's a lot of legend, Dave, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of different ships and different phenomenon. So there is definitely for everyone that's listening and watching, there's definitely a connection to disappearances and phenomenon. Absolutely.
Right.
Okay, so
when I drove through Western Canada, guys, when I come back from Alaska, I saw a sign that says, "Be careful, don't get out of your car and walk around too much. There's been missing a Native American Indian, especially women." It was a sign. It was on the road. It
oh my
says, so
goodness.
"Be careful." Yeah.
Okay, so this what I'm showing you in the screen. Now this is a time lapse that's made into a video, Dave.
Uh-huh.
And as you can see, this light comes on. So each frame is a 30-second exposure. You can see this light coming on here,
Right.
and
I
then
see it
over
now.
30 minutes, it slowly goes out. This is actually in the middle of the lake. Now it looks dark as if it's the other side of the lake there. That's just the different shades of water because of the maybe there's wind out there or whatever. It looks different in the infrared.
Right.
But look at how this comes on and goes
Yeah.
out and shines up
Wow.
onto the clouds.
Wow, that's bright.
So it was only seen in the infrared. Okay, now the visible cameras show nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was only seen in the infrared. So it's a very bright light. It shines up on the clouds and it's in the water. Now, some people said, oh, it's a lighthouse. Well, don't forget, lighthouses shine out this way. They do not shine up.
Right.
And that light is shining up. So that's been sent to MUFON US and considered, how would you put it? It was kind of at the top, and it's with
Anomaly, I
the
guess.
it's with the scientists there at MUFON US right now. Nobody can figure out what it is.
Mm.
Okay, it may not look like much in the video there, but it's a light that came on over about 30 seconds, very bright, shines to the clouds, but it's only an infrared. It does not show up in the visible cameras. So that was our big, pardon me, that was our big thing that we saw in Marysburg. And we just don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We have no explanation for that one at all.
Now, does your big camera I seen you carry it on your back? And that's a lot of equipment there. And is it infrared capable too?
Yeah, that one has thermal. Now,
Yeah.
this sighting did not show up in the thermal, which was
Wow.
interesting.
Huh.
Thermal is a little further into the heat range.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, infrared is just beyond red light. So it's infrared and we cannot see it. For example, if you have your remote control for your TV and the LED, if you
Yeah.
look at it, you can't see it. If you look at it into your iPhone, you can see the light, but that's red just beyond red, like it's infrared. So our eyesight can't see it. And you know, the green night vision that they use in the Army because they shine the illuminator infrared lights and
Right.
everything can look bright. But when you look with your eyes, you see nothing.
Mm.
So that sighting with our eyes, we saw nothing. With the visible cameras, zoom and wide angle, we saw nothing. With the infrared camera only, it's super bright. With the thermal camera, there's nothing. So it's some light that only showed up in that range of infrared, just out of visible. What is it? Don't know.
That's how they trick us all the time, Rob. They're invisible. They have this cloaking device and also infrared. I'm familiar with infrared. I got an infrared trail cam I set up on my house, and I got a few captures on it. And I got an infrared movie camera. It's cheap compared to what you guys got. I mean, it's just like my big production studio stopwatch here. But no, but that is interesting. I mean, did you hear more about that particular area, triangle area that drew you there?
Well, Mark, you can speak to this because you did all the research prior to us going there for months. You researched it a lot.
Yeah, honestly, Dave, it was kind of like a discovery for me, even, because, I you think you need to leave beyond beyond your own borders, but the Marysburg vortex has a history of basically shipwrecks, that during that age of, sail and steam, there was a lot of like legends and superstitions and these comparisons that formed around the same kind of dichotomy of the Bermuda Triangle, and if you look at it, it is an actual triangle. You have the three corners, the three corners of the vortex are Wolf Island, Mexico Bay, which is near New York, and then you have Point Petre, which is in Prince Edward County, which is where we were, but the most incredible part of it all is 500 ships, 500 ships, and 40 aircraft have been mysteriously lost in the vortex. That's a lot. You know what I mean? That's a lot. And then you have obviously there's a lot of legend behind that. A lot of writers have attributed that record of shipping, disasters and disappearances to, of course, to basic conventional hazards like bad weather and shifting, the shifting of everything, right? Fires and submerged reefs. But it's become quite legendary, and we were really drawn to it because no one has really gone out there. And of course, I think you were only there, Rob, like it was like the first night, like that you actually got to be with Dave, that you had that experience.
Yeah, it was, we were there like 5 days, and I think it was the very first night with, late in the evening. But so that was really the hit thing for the Marysburg Vortex. And then we went from there to Italy, Dave.
Oh, okay.
And Mark spent months researching out the things around Italy. And this is what I love about the teamwork that we do. I have all the equipment and, for documenting the sightings that we have, but Mark will spend months reading up and contacting people, and the research that he does before we go on an expedition, so we know what we're getting into. And Mark, maybe you could pick it up from there.
That's a lot of work.
It's really exciting for me, guys. I love this part because I had met an individual in 2019, Rob and I were on an expedition to the Atacama Desert, and we were there as part of an expedition with Ricardo Gonzalez, who is a 25 plus year contactee. He has had many contact experiences, and obviously he has chronicled and written about those experiences in numerous different books. Rob and I had the opportunity and privilege to work with Ricardo, and we actually were excited because we have a documentary that we produce with Ricardo. Here comes a little bit of a plug, but
plug away, guys.
Plug away, man. Plug away.
Yeah.
But we have a really exciting documentary. I've completed it. It's an fully completed production, making contact messages from the Andes, because we spent time with Ricardo starting in Guanajuato, Mexico in 2019 through an 18-day expedition in Peru, and then it concluded with our time with Ricardo in Atacama. And it was a really exciting time, very, very learned experience, different very different, a lot of varied experiences. So we're excited to release that to the public, and all of our experiences to the public. And it was during our time in Atacama that we met a gentleman, a brilliant mind, from Italy. And his name is Filippo Sarpa. And Filippo has had multiple expeditions himself. Young man, a very young man. Comparable to you and I. he's
won't even talk about me.
Yeah, we won't even talk about you, Dave. Yeah. No. All of us, all three of us combined.
You guys could probably be my sons. I mean, and you'd be great sons if that was the case. Yeah.
We're all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat. And Filippo is, early 30s, and he's very progressive and very open-minded, very open-hearted. And I spent as Rob mentioned, I spent over 2 years with Filippo, talking to him about Italy. What's the UFO experience? What has happened in Italy? What is that about? Like, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. I love this part of what I do with Rob, because Rob has created this opportunity for me to talk to these different people from around the world over the last several years. And to talk to Filippo, he talked extensively about northern Italy. He talked about these different mountain regions. He talked about extraterrestrial experiences. And what was incredible, absolutely incredible about what Filippo talked about, was that these extraterrestrials were coming into the villages. They were coming into the villages, and basically, for all intents and purposes, we're tapping on the windows. Like, we're like, like knocking on the windows, and showing up in craft, over the different mountains in the region. And that got Rob and I pretty excited and pretty interested, because you know, and I'm honestly, just even right now, in a very quick way, I'm editing a video that will come out on the UFO World Explorer channel this weekend. And one of the gentlemen who's been studying this for over 20 years has said that they form a trust. They form a trust with, they formed a trust with the villagers, with different villagers, and they know who they can connect to, and there's this level of comfort. Now, I know that this is all seems very fantastical. It seems like a very fantastical kind of thing, but it was incredible for us, because while we were in Italy, Rob and I were in 3 different mountainous regions. We were in Turin, and then we were in Val Camonica, and then we were in Val Malenko. So we had a lot of experiences. I would have to say that probably in the last 5 or 6 years, it created the most experiences that we've had.
Wow. Yeah, that's we had a slight glitch there, and we probably lost a little bit of your audio. I don't know if you guys had a glitch on your end, but Zoom does that quite a bit. And
yeah, no, it was fine here. So Dave, I have it recorded, and I can get that to you, because everything is continuous at this end here. No problem.
I get glitches every once in a while. I guess it's sometimes what I talk about, not you guys. I mean, but there's I have another show too that's very controversial, current events, and sometimes people don't like that too much. But
don't worry about that.
Yeah, but no, it's like that. But no, this Turin, is that the same place the Shroud is? Turin, is that?
It's Turin, Italy. It's we just kind of been led to that spot. There's a cathedral. There's a very legendary cathedral that over 1,000 years ago, I think it was 986 actually, after Christ, 986, they had many different sightings, many different UFO sightings. And Rob and I were drawn there. But if Rob wants to talk, I don't know where you're at, Dave, with your first 28 minutes, but this is a big story.
Yeah, we're coming close to, but we had a glitch there. At least I did on my end. So we're getting down to that 28-minute mark. I just want to tell people we're being syndicated through WDY Radio, and that's OdysseyRadioLive.com. And this is a Dave Emmons show, and I got 2 fabulous guests, and they've got so much that they've done that's going to be hard for them to get it all in. Rob Freeman, Mark McNabb, both excellent guys, my besties, like I say. But we're going to be right back after this short pause.
Okay, so is this the same show? But
yeah, we're back now. Okay, it is just a moment of silence because of the radio syndication just carries the audio, WDY, and that's why I take the 2-minute break. And I think the people that watch the show, they've seen these breaks before. It's kind of odd, but I'm doing it for a good cause. For the WDY radio, and that's OdysseyRadio.live. that's OdysseyRadioLive.com. I'm sorry, and that's Eddie Carson, my buddy there. This is the Dave Emmons Show, and that's Mark McNabb and Rob Freeman explaining their adventures. And this all comes from, I mean, if people have complaints about Zoom, let me know in their comments. Okay, go ahead. Continue on to what you were talking about there.
Yeah, so it was interesting because we were set up with the equipment high up in the mountain, overlooking to the cathedral, and a thunderstorm came in, and I've got time lapse, and we actually have a lightning bolt hitting the cathedral. It's a beautiful picture. And that's really just an aside, but Mark, I think it was the next night. Was it the next night that, or the third night we had, it was forecast to be heavy rains, and we took all the equipment. So we had it in the back of the SUV, and we got there and we knew we wouldn't be setting it up, Dave. We took it anyway, just in case.
Rain follows you guys, right?
Well, it can for sure. And you know, we were just being silly. We were reminiscing a little bit. We were free flowing.
Right.
And I gotta say that there's something about this phenomenon when you're in the moment, when you're being creative, spontaneous, having fun, being silly, being childlike, all of those things, the phenomenon just seems to really show itself. Okay,
Yes.
now we've had several experiences around that. It's like it happens when you least expect it. But then when we look back, we noticed that in times of just totally feeling good, feeling in the moment, being spontaneous, creative, childlike, having fun, joking around with everybody, you know, zero tension, just enjoyment of the people that are with you and connecting. So Marcus and I were doing that in the car. You know, we were just having a great time. And there was two things that happened. So we were faced over to the mountain, but the road was a very narrow road, only room for one car and no turnoffs. It's like there's trees on both sides. So you can just barely squeeze over if another car comes by. But, and if you have to turn around, good luck. You got to go several miles to find a driveway up or down the mountain, right? You really difficult to turn around on that road. A lot of roads are like that high up in the mountains here, but it's a paved road. And we're talking away, and I saw a light coming up behind. Like the road came up the hill and kind of did a bit of a turn, and we were right at that turn, looking out over the valley and towards this cathedral and so on. And I saw a light, and I warned Mark. I said, "Oh, there's a car coming," and because it all lit up bright. And then, you know, about 4 or 5 seconds later, when I expected the car to go by, and bear in mind that this was the first car all night. We're up in a very remote area where there was only maybe 2 or 3 cars in the entire evening. Okay. And it's like, where did that car go? And it just disappeared. It was like it was coming and then it was gone. And we thought that was odd. And then we were getting ready to pack up, maybe, oh, I don't know, 30 minutes later or something. And from the other direction, I saw all the trees light up. But before that happened, we were getting ready to go. So I was just gonna back onto the road and then kind of turn around and go down the hill. Well, as I backed on the road was when I saw the trees all light up just down the road a little bit. And they lit up fast. And I thought, oh my goodness, the way these Italian drivers come whipping around these corners, I better get my butt back in where I was or I'm going to get hit. Because I was expecting that light again in about 3 or 4 seconds to be right where we were. And as I backed in and I was turning around to come in onto the road straight with my nose going out, the light was gone. Like literally in 3 seconds, it was gone.
Really?
And then I said, Mark, this is crazy. We have to go explore. And I think it was Mark that says, well, how do you know they're car lights? Why are we assuming they're car lights? Why do we do that? I said, I don't know. He says, do we know they're car lights? No, we don't know they're car lights. So we decided to just go on a little explore. We went down the hill a couple miles. There was no spots for turning around. We drove back up to the hill where we were, where the site, the viewing out to the valley was, and we kept going up a mile or two from where that other light came and passed. There was nothing there either. There were no vehicles there. There were no turnaround points. So what was this? This now started to fall under our category of cool, high strangeness. And, we could talk for hours on that.
Right.
But, when we then thought about these lights, they really didn't behave like car lights. So, Mark, maybe you can, continue on with that discussion, because it was you that really started questioning me. Why are we assuming they're car lights?
Yeah, it was a very interesting night. And I will just go back about, a couple of minutes, because, Rob and I were in a different mindset that night. Like, we knew that we were coming into like a storm, that equipment couldn't be brought out. It changes your mindset as far as how will you approach the night. We're not going to do the conventional approach, to experiencing and connecting. There's a whole bunch of different words that you can use for it. And it rained the whole time, like it didn't stop raining for 4 hours. And we also did, and I'll just add this part in, we did something that we hadn't done in 3 other nights. Like, we had had 4 nights in Turin, and the one thing we hadn't done is meditated. And that's something we had learned when we had gone to Ecuador. So you're coming off of Ecuador and you're coming into Italy 2.5, 3 months later, and we added in, and honestly, what Rob mentioned, we were having fun. Like, we were having full on fun. We were enjoying ourselves. We were laughing. We were reminiscing. We were kind of just having fun at our own expense, that we were sitting in a car,
No.
in Italy. And we were kind of just having fun at our own expense, and we meditated. I will not deny that I kind of dozed out a little bit, which has, you have that tendency to get a little bit tired.
Yeah.
And coming out of it, it wasn't even, I don't know, couldn't have even been 15 minutes later that this happened. And I remember saying to Rob, because we had an experience in Sedona, Arizona,
Oh, yeah.
Munds Park, actually. We had an experience in Munds Park where Rob had seen something in the sky, and he said, "Hey, it's a satellite." Well, I won't get into the vernacular of exactly how he talked about it, but it was like, oh crap,
Yeah.
it's just a satellite, until it wasn't a satellite, because it stopped. Because it
Yeah.
stopped and it didn't move. And then he was like, there's like an awareness, right? There's this an awareness that's generated of, well, this isn't what I think it is. So then we came up with the funny way of referring to it. It's a satellite until it's not a satellite.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
that's what happened in Turin. It's like, well, it's a car light until it's not a car light, because it's not there. Why are we assuming that? Why do we automatically, because our brain takes us to the point of, we are labeling it without really any evidence of it being something. We didn't see a car. Why are we assuming this light that's coming from one side of the car is a car light? Are we basing that, Dave? Are we basing that on a repetitive pattern of lights?
Yes.
Do you know what I
Well,
mean?
and Mark, the truth is that, those lights were imminent. Like, they were lighting up the trees nearby, and literally we should have seen the car 1, 2, 3 seconds later. And in both
Absolutely.
cases, there was no car 1, 2, or 3 seconds later, and the lights went out. And the lights lit up like everything. I mean, the second time I pulled in so quick, because the way it was so bright, as if it was right there, just around the corner, that he would have hit me, right? And I pulled in, and the second I pulled in and turned right around, it's gone. And like, those are the only cars that went by the whole night, Dave. And
Yeah.
it's
You
like,
know,
well, I shouldn't say cars. If they were cars,
yeah,
two cars turned around, but there's no place to turn around. That's the
yeah.
whole thing.
You guys are taking me back to that movie, The Third Kind, with Richard Dreyfuss, and he was driving that truck, and the lights come up behind him, and he saw bright lights, and then they were gone, but they actually went over his head, and he saw them shoot out in front of him. And also, when you guys talk about peaceful, having a good time, I think you two have a consciousness that can attract these things, and you know, the ETs and the UFOs. It takes consciousness, and when you talk about good spiritual feelings, that's what draws them too. It's that good positive feeling that these entities are attracted to. And I feel the spirituality, you know, whenever I've had these incidents like you're talking about, I can feel where you guys have been and how you're feeling during that time. But Sedona is one of my favorite places. I've had several things there. But also, I want to ask you a question. Why are you guys going to the mountains? Is that where there's a lot of sightings?
I would say that I would say that honestly, Dave, all the different experiences you try to create a pattern. That's the way the brain works, right? I mean, as humans, we logically try to put pieces together, like
Right.
a puzzle, and you say, well, what's the pattern? The regularities of this, what's the pattern? And even working with these really incredible people in Italy who have spent a lot of time in the very, very remote regions of Italy, like northern Italy is just, spectacular. So you just
Mhm.
say, okay, you know, they honestly, the video that's coming out, I'm not trying to double pitch
No,
the
don't
fact,
pitch. That's what I want you guys to do.
but
All
I
your
have a
work.
bit.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Mark all your work is in that, and that's what I want people to be drawn to. I actually want you to send me the links so I can put it
I will.
on
I will,
the
my
social
friend.
media. And
I
like I
will,
said,
because I'm very excited. I am. I'm very excited about this video, and someone who has been in a very mountainous, remote region of Italy who talks about that, exactly what you said. I
Mhm.
mean, he talks verbatim about what you're talking about. The fact that these mountainous, remote regions are conducive. He actually, in the interview we did with him, it was Rob and it was him and it was one other gentleman, and he talks and he says, can you imagine a spacecraft touching down in Toronto? He creates a gravitas, right? He says,
Mhm.
here in this region, they know that they can land or appear, have any level of contact without any real attention brought to them. They know that because it's not like there's not a media thing connected to it. There's not a lot of it's just not a lot of emphasis brought to it, other than the fact that they just want to come and visit. They just want to come and visit.
Mhm.
So if they want to come and visit, well, then visit and create your contact and have that and move on.
Right. You guys eat a lot of Chef Boyardee, I guess spaghetti cans and stuff like that. And I just joking. Italy, I told you, I love it. I'd love to be there. So many beautiful places, like you're saying, northern Italy. It's mountainous and it's really beautiful. And I'd love to go there, but with the world the way it is now, it's kind of hard. And you guys, I guess, have to be careful too, where you go and what you do when you travel around so much.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Mark is set up missions. What we'll do is we connect with people in the area, and we go with somebody who kind of is our host in a way. It's somebody who knows the area,
Right.
who not only are they a UFO person, but they keep us safe. Like, we could inadvertently wander into somewhere where we shouldn't go or whatever, but because we hook up with people who know the area, they keep us safe. So we're not too worried about that. I mean, we've had situations over the years, and you know, I won't get into it too much, but we one time in Peru, we wound up in the middle of a drug bust. Okay,
Oh,
we were
wow.
going up in a mountain road, and we had these lights coming at us, and it was like 4 narco police that got out with their big guns pointed at us. We
Ooh,
just inadvertently were driving down this road, and they were on a stakeout. So after that happened, you know, we talked our way out of it. We had our passports with us. Then they became kind of like friends right after that. But, you know, we do go with people who know the area. And if we'd have gone with somebody there, they probably would have kept us out of that area. But we didn't know. We were a little bit wet behind the ears there. But nowadays, we do go with a host, and they take us right to these hot spots. They tell us all about the experiences. For example, in the, you know, there's one village in Italy where ETs lived and worked among the village people for 20 years, from 1950 to 1970.
really?
And there's a fella that we're being hooked up with. I think he's 103 years old. So we're going to do a video pretty soon. We don't know, you know, how much longer he's going to be here. And he worked with these ETs, and he is going to relate his experiences to us. So we would like to set up another expedition and go and see him personally and be with him, but we're a little nervous as to his age. So we're going to set up an interview over Skype or Zoom very soon and talk to this individual. So
Yeah,
that's
Rob,
why we're,
were these humanoid ETs, Rob?
yes. Yeah, they're ETs, much like my Australian ET guy. They're
Yeah,
people that you wouldn't know the difference,
right.
okay, unless you really, really, really studied them. You know, and remember, is it Paul Hellyer, Marcus, our ex-defense minister? Um,
Yes, that's
Paul
it.
Hellyer, you know, he's passed away now, but remember, he said in one of our interviews, and he was our defense minister in Canada who was party to all this stuff, and he's passed away, but he said to us, he says, you know, the beings in the Milky Way galaxy are all similar to us. He said, if you passed one on the street, you would never know. You would think it's your, you know, first cousin. So he said, we all come from the same seed in the Milky Way. You know, we're part of the Milky Way here in this neck
Oh,
of the woods. So we've all come from the same seed, apparently. Beings from other galaxies look different. And apparently, you know, we have much more research to do around this, but apparently in this village, they were ETs that looked like us from elsewhere in the Milky Way galaxy, and were working and living among the village people. One of
that,
these small remote villages, like where we were at in Italy.
yeah, Rob, that's an interesting, note that you made there that in this galaxy, the Milky Way, that they all look humanoid like us, and then other
Mhm,
galaxies, they're different.
mhm,
That makes sense in a way, and but these other ETs are coming from a far distance, maybe further than the humanoid ETs. I got a picture in my book of one that I ran into in Sedona, as a matter of fact,
mhm.
and people say, "Doesn't it scare you, or do you ever have painful episodes with these?" I said, "No, they're all been spiritual, just like you guys are talking. Rob, you guys, and Mark, you guys been talking about having, elated feelings when you're around this area."
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah,
We've had nothing but positive experiences,
yeah,
Dave, and we like to keep it that way. And,
right.
you know, whether or not there are ET races that are not benevolent, I'm sure there are, but in the same way, there's people that aren't very benevolent, you know.
Yes.
We don't want anything to do with that. We're, you know, if we're going to go on these tours and these expeditions around the world, we want to have good experiences. And so far, touch wood, we have. And speaking of experiences, I think it was the last night, Mark, when we were in where was it, Val Malenko, um, and we met was it Corinne, um,
Yeah.
and she's quite
Yeah.
an experiencer, and we went up on the mountain during the day with her, and you know, with Filippo and Felice, and what was the other fellow's name, Mark?
We were also with Enrico. They're part
Enrico.
of a they're part of the group. The group is actually called GAUS, which stands for I want to make sure that I do this right. Gruppo or Gruppo Accademico Ufologico Scandici. So
Oh,
basically it's the Italian, the Italy version of MUFON. You know,
Okay.
they do a lot of research, they do a lot of investigations, they provide a lot of different material, and we were really grateful that they opened up every door. They brought in never before never before recorded contactees and experiencers. We got that opportunity. It's an exciting experience for us, and like Rob is saying, it's not just the for me as a producer, it's incredible to have that opportunity to document that. But as Rob was starting to talk about, it's also an incredible Rob, you can say it out loud on Dave's show, because this is the first show that we've been on since coming back from Italy.
oh, I
That,
feel. Oh, thank you guys. I feel blessed.
you know,
Really,
honestly,
great.
Dave, I love the fact that that Rob can sit, clearly state, that he saw what he saw
Mhm,
while
mhm,
we were
mhm.
in Valmalenco. I also saw this, and we got a picture of some, a verified, authenticated craft, and it's incredibly exciting.
What shapes
Yeah.
were the craft, Mark,
uh,
that you got? What shapes were they in, Mark?
It was cylindrical. I mean, Rob, you can describe, if you can, just, yeah, I know you can, but to
yeah.
describe the actual craft that you saw when we were in just in that area
Sure.
where they talked about where crafts had come.
Sure. And I'll say that, we were party to seeing photographs that are classified and that we unfortunately will not be able to show. We were only shown them on the condition that we would not make them public, because some of the people that are involved in these photos work for the government. And
Oh,
I'm not sure how much I can say, Mark, but kind of what would you do, Dave, if these people had stuff? And we even met some of these government people, and there's kind of certain conditions that are put down before you're allowed to see it. And there's conditions on some of the stuff we can share and some of the stuff we can't. But we have found when we go around the world, it's always like that. People, there's two levels. They'll do interviews with us, and then when the camera's turned off, the really juicy stuff starts in terms of what they'll show us and what they'll tell us, but they do not want it made public. So for us as experiencers and being able to be party to this is fantastic. But I will tell you, we spent time with these people, and the one lady came with us on the last night up, last day, I should say, up on the mountain. And, we agreed we wouldn't take any equipment up. We were just having fun. And we were walking up from our lodge where we were staying. And it's funny because my iPhone was very low on battery. And I thought, oh gosh, I should probably bring a little battery pack with me. And I had, oh no, it's just more stuff I got to carry. I didn't have my backpack. I don't want to stuff all this crap in my pockets. Enough is enough, right?
mhm.
We were just having fun with these people. So I just brought my iPhone, and it was, I don't know what it was, down to 20% or something like that. We go up on the mountain. Mark's getting great interviews with all these people. And I kind of wandered off. And this is in the area of the Pizzo Mountain, which has incredible sightings and stories behind. It's very, very important mountain. Um, and I
Were
went to
these,
grab my,
Rob? Were these foreign, like alphabet boys or military that you talked to?
Mark, I'm going to let you answer that because I don't know how much we're allowed to say. This is our first interview after. So, Mark, you can speak to that.
You know, you know, that's a hard line to tread, Dave,
Well,
because
yeah. Well, don't give
it
out what you can't give out.
no, no, but you know what? I don't think I'm going too far to say that it is Air Force affiliated. I think I'm okay with that. That's a broad understanding, but this is someone that was a part of the Air Force. I'm not going to, I can't, I, like Rob had mentioned, I, we have a lot of respect for people that come forward and
Right.
show us
Yeah.
photographs.
Yeah, they got
And
the guts.
these photographs were mind blowing, and I have a continued conversation with, you know, people that are connected with this Air Force official,
Mhm.
and I'm telling you, it's amazing. It really is. Like, I mean, in 8 years, I've never seen the kind of material I've seen with them.
Well, you're blessed seeing that,
Yeah.
really. Mark and Rob, now I guess what we're talking about is something that not too many people can see, and I think that's great. And when do you think disclosure is going to happen after talking to these people, Mark and Rob, both of you?
Well, I get the impression myself, Dave, that it's a slow process. And I really get the impression that they or the visitors are really in control of what's happening here. And they're allowing a slow drip to happen. It's
So it's
speeding
the
up.
ETs. It's the
I,
ETs that are doing this.
that's the impression that I get, that in spite of the humans, there's only so much that's going to be disclosed and so fast. And
Right.
it seems to be controlled because, as you know, I've taken video of saucers, and we go to
Mhm.
play the video back and it's all snow. We have the
Yeah.
whole audio around the sighting with very famous people, but the video is all snow. It's like there's this higher intelligence
Right. Yes. You got it.
that
Yeah.
are in control. That's just my personal feeling from the experiences. But let me finish the story of going
Yeah,
up on the
we're
mountain.
running short on time. I want you guys to do your plugs about your documentaries and your site.
Okay.
So
How
we're
much
running
do I have to finish the story?
about,
Do I have like
about
a minute?
30
Okay.
seconds, 40 seconds. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I went up there on the mountain with everybody. I went to pull my camera out, and the little wheel was turning. The battery was dying. So I said, "Hey guys, hey ETs." I says, "My battery's, how about you show yourselves? My battery's dead. I can't take a photo anyway." I turned around and I looked, and there was a saucer shaped craft going across the mountain, Dave. No
Wow.
kidding.
They were reading
Okay.
you. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
That's
said, wouldn't it be funny if I get back to the lodge and my phone's back on again? Sure enough, we got back to the lodge. My phone came on. And within minutes, Mark also and one of the other guys saw the same saucer craft going across the mountain in the same spot.
wow. Okay. What sites we go to now? For to find out what you're doing.
Mark,
Either Mark or Rob, both of you. Like, let's
go ahead,
give it
Mark.
a last plug here.
We've had a couple of videos come out through the the UFO World Explorer channel, and of course Facebook. Um, I'll be honest with you, I'm super excited to put this together in a very new style of documentary that I have
That's great. Yeah.
I've entitled it Encounters, because
Right.
this is, we've had different ones that have come out under the Making Contact kind of way of presenting it, but this is Encounters, and Encounters is all about, having these very real, very authentic discussions with people, and and honestly, the new one that's coming out from both Ecuador and Italy that actually show very authentic experiences
Right.
is all under all under Encounters.
Okay, what we'll do is we'll post those links, and you send me the links and I'll post them. Our guest, Rob Freeman, Mark McNabb, great guys, great adventurers, boots on the ground type of guys. And this is the Dave Emmons Show, and we're syndicated through WDY Radio. That's Odyssey Radio Live.com. Eddie Carson's my man there. And we'd like to thank my two guests and the gracious enough to be here. And hopefully I'll see them again soon. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Hope you got something out of this. I did. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, now I've stopped recording. You guys can keep recording, maybe.
Okay, so I guess we always have so much fun with these Dave, and we could talk for hours, as you know,
Oh
on
yeah.
this stuff.
Here's
Hour.
my book, guys. Yeah, that's
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
It's Hanger One Publishing, and yeah, it's got a lot of things in there. I've got everything from I described the three methods of abductions. There's bedside. There's take you up, beam me up, Scotty side, and then there's a dimensional element in which I've been frozen 6 years in a row, and it happened on almost the same date, August 11th through August 14th. And I told my doctor that I woke up with my hands across my belly like I was dead, and the whole bed was shaking. I mean, just violently shaking. My wife, who hears the cell phone hit the carpet and she wakes up. What's that? It's just a little thud. But she did not wake up during all this, and I was just shaking. I was so cold. I thought I was dead. I got up, went to the bathroom, come back, covered up, and I was out. That's happened 6 years in a row, and this time I had kind of an out of body experience. And I think what happens is that third way of abduction is that they take your soul, your energy, and
Yeah.
your consciousness, and they take it to another dimension, and they're tweaking you is what some experts were telling me. And yeah, so I've had some really weird experiences, and so I know how you guys feel, and you guys are telling me these feelings, and I'm getting it, because I feel it. I can feel it in your spirit, the way you see these things, and you're elated. That's how I felt, just like you guys did.
I need to say this really quickly, Dave. Happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Yeah, 10
And
years.
Because
myself,
I
Richard.
no, buddy, no, I think that's beautiful, and I saw that online, and I'm just happy that I have the opportunity to tell you, my friend, in person.
Thank you so much, Mark. You and Rob are just great guys. Wow. I could do a 2 or 3 hour show with you guys. I know.
Oh, buddy, we would talk. You know that. You know that.
Yeah,
Like
I love it.
we're really excited, Dave, and we'll tell you what's going to come up on your next show. Okay, we're going to tell you the next
Okay.
time you have us come on. We will talk to you about everything that we experience in Area 51, because we're going back to Area 51 in
Wow.
November. We're going back. We're going back. We're going back with the equipment. We're going back with someone who has had different experiences and is taking
Uh-huh.
us to a very, very specific. I can say this, right, Rob?
Yeah, be careful. Don't disclose too
I'm not
much
going to say a
because,
name. I'm not
yeah,
going to say
yeah.
a name. No names, no locations. But we're excited to go back to Area 51, and we're also looking towards Argentina, and
Oh,
something that we've been putting together for almost 3 years, and we appreciate being on your show, and
oh
we
God.
love bringing our experiences to you.
Well, a couple of times I've had you on my show, I was just enamored with some of the stories, and that one in the desert there in the outback, with that tall white being that was in a car that approached. That still goes through my mind, because I've experienced things kind of like that. So
Mhm.
it just brings back memories, and wow, and Robin Market, love you guys. You guys are great. Yeah.
Well, we love you too, Dave, and we always enjoy being on your show.
Well, you too.
Dave, we consider you a very good friend, and such a supporter of what we do, and honestly, it's this level of providing information to the public that's so important. So thank you
It
for that.
is. It is. It's I'm doing the radio and I'm doing the books, and I do a current events show in which I get involved in the cabal, the deep state, and so I'm running a real edgy line there. And I have a guest that Tom Althouse. He's not a guest; he's a co-host on this show, and he actually wrote The Immortals. He's a screenplay writer out of Hollywood. He's a guy about 59, somewhere like that, and he wrote the screenplay, and they took it away from him and made it into The Matrix. Keanu Reeves, and he shows the court papers and everything. There was a corrupt judge, a cabal. Cabal runs Hollywood, so that's the thing. And he got screwed over on that one. So he's really a brilliant guy. He knows a lot about the cabal because he was involved in it. So we talk about that and we get involved in. It's scary, yeah, but like you were saying, Mark and Rob, that I do put things out there. I want people to know the truth, and that's where I'm at with this, and that's with you guys. You guys are boots on the ground, and I love it. There's not too many people like you guys. I ran into a couple of guys that was on my show. They do Bigfoot hunting up in Canada and Alaska, and they're also boots on the ground. But you guys, it's tremendous. I mean, it's just you're there, you investigate, and you're there on the scene. You're not some talking head that's ufologists are mostly made of. They take other experience or stories. You guys bring them fresh to us. It's like fresh meat. It's just great. I love it. Love it.
Well, it's our privilege, and I know that Rob and I both take a lot of pride in that.
Well, yeah, I love it. And I just I'll have this video out in a day or two because I got one running now. I don't want to back to back them. You guys know what that's like on social media. If you get too many back to back, they're going to lose interest in something and they're going to go to this and this. I want every video to have especially you guys, this show. I want, I'm going to put it out in about a night or two because I got one I just put out yesterday and I want it to run its course for a day or two and then run another one.
And Dave, do you want me to, Mark and I will both send you, like I do a video, it's the Hollywood Squares version. So it shows all three of us. And Mark, when he records, he just does the one screen, I believe. And because we had that glitch in the sound, there was no glitch on my end or Mark's end, but really? you could then take that part from our videos and keep it continuous and consistent if you want.
Right. Well, do you send it in a WeTransfer type of thing?
Yeah, I can if Rob, once you send it to me, I'll set it all up with Dave and I'll have that through to him within the next, by tomorrow morning.
Oh, well, yeah. I'll go ahead and send you this copy of the video to to WeTransfer. I'll send it to both of you. And so you'll get a chance to take a look at that and then take a look at what might have been tweaked out. But I've been having problems with this Zoom. And especially I have big time problems when we start talking about secret agencies and cabal.
Of course, so always, right?
We're being hit. Our numbers are being hit. We're being shadow banned, the whole bit. So, but we keep doing these shows and we keep, going at it. Now that's a lot scarier than UFOs, guys. The UFO thing is fun, and I got a warning on YouTube on one of I mentioned the 2020 election. That was a no. I didn't know that, and it was even actually I had my sources. I was reading off current events. I had my sources. I read off my sources and everything. But I told them that. I said I had a source. It was UPI. I even had the correspondent, and they said your appeal is denied. But it was just a warning. So they said next time they're going to boot me off for a week or 2 weeks. Oh, big deal. Okay. But you got to watch the 2020 election, and then you got to be careful of COVID. You can't talk about the COVID thing. The communists. I mean, these people don't like it.
Yeah.
So, but we're in.
No problem, Dave. And like I say, I'll get my version of the video over to Mark. The link for WeTransfer. He'll do his link for WeTransfer, and he'll send them both over to you tonight or tomorrow morning. We'll get them over to you.
We'll do that. And the next time, I know I got an American flag and patriotic. I should have thought about it. I should have a Canadian flag up here next time you guys are on.
Love it. We love it.
I will do that. I promise you to be in my notes, and next time you guys are on, I'll have a Canadian flag in behind me too. Okay.
That's the deal. That's perfect, buddy. Thank you so much, Dave. We love being on tonight. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. And good night, guys. Rob and Mark, loved it. Always love talking to you guys. I'm always in high spirits when I talk to you guys. And why is that? Because
same here.
You guys are just up. I mean, you're spiritually up, and you know what you're doing. And I love what you're doing. And I believe wholeheartedly you're some of the most honest researchers I've ever run into. And that's great. I love it. So
we want to keep it that way for sure.
Yeah, right. And on that note, I'll let you guys go and thank you so much for doing the show.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care of yourself, my friend.
You too. Bye-bye.